Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. I'm sitting outside a vintage and modern sale that I went to, and one of the reasons that I went to it was because it was advertised on Craigslist and in a local classified ads as having comic books, in addition to all sorts of other vintage and modern items at a discount. Circumstances being as they may, I could not get there at the start, which would have been ideal. That's always recommended, particularly if there's something that you want, but you can't always be in two places at once. So, sure enough, when I walk in there, and as you know from if you follow my channel, comic books are the number one thing that I look for, and it's the thing that I'm most interested in selling and trying to obtain. So I walk in, and sure enough, I see somebody who I know who is also a comics dealer, and it's pretty much all he does is comics. And as soon as I walk in, I see him walking around with all the comic books in his hand in a box. So he got there earlier than I did, and he wound up obtaining those, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But this is why I tell you, you have to be able to diversify and move into other areas, because if I was just solely focused on comic books and that was it, then I really would have been out of luck and I would have just had to move on. But because I wasn't, and because I knew to take my time and work through some other areas, I wound up finding some absolutely incredible things. And I did the last video talking about paper goods and paper products, but that was mostly focused on comic related materials from a comic shop. But this is actually some stuff that I found is just incredible in terms of mostly a lot of the vintage items that you can get that are just worth a lot of money, especially if you could get these things in bulk. So let me just show you a couple things that I found here that I think you'll think are pretty neat. And I'll I think maybe I'll start off by hitting you with one of the things that I think is pretty incredible. Check this out. This is the New York Post from September 12th. Okay, September 12th, so the day after September 11th, showing the plane flying into the World Trade Center. That's amazing. And fully intact newspaper, and along with it, so now I could sell it as a combo, is the New York Times from September 12th, showing the attack as well. So both of these together will command a pretty penny. I saw this one going for as high as $70. Now this won't go for as much because it has some wrinkling, has a little bit of writing on top. This one doesn't, but by being able to pair them together, it's going to be it'll sell for a nice price. Then I found a lot of vintage ebony magazines from the 60s and 70s, and you're looking for important historical figures. So for ebony in particular, I'm looking for Martin Luther King. So got a nice Martin Luther King one. I think the best Martin Luther King one that I have is this one, and again, I could put these together in a lot. This is from 1965, and it's showing Civil Rights March, and I looked these up when I was there. I looked up the comps, and they sell pretty well. I mean, some of them $20, $30 a piece. So especially if I lot them together, it's going to make it more powerful and more valuable in terms of being able to get that sale. So that was good. Nat King Cole, I've seen this one has sold before as well for like 15-20 bucks. So that's just four right there. Those are really great, and so I'm looking forward to processing those and putting those up. Another thing that I will tell you is that I do really good with coin books. So these are the Whitman coin books. They look like this. They're typically blue, and you open them up and there's slots for the coins. Sometimes you'll actually see that there's coins in there, but what I do is I take these, and there's also real thin ones, which are the more common ones that you see, and I just add them all together, and then I sell them in like a lot of 10 or 12 or 13, and I can usually sell them for like $40, $50 depending on how old they are and the condition and what type of coins it is that's being collected. So that's another thing to keep in mind, are coin books. They're really good. Another thing, and I talked about this in my video last night, but again, remember I talked about Mad magazines? So I just found some random Mad magazines from the 1980s and 1970s. So just picked those up, and now I'll just add them to the pile of ones that I got yesterday, and that's going to make a nice purchase there. I've talked before about Star Wars, but in the context of comic books. But what you could also do is build these Star Wars lots of these books. Now, if you look them up individually, some of them don't sell for that much. But what you do is you just take them and you combine them together. So, and you make a nice little lot out of them. So there's a bunch of ones. I talked last night about role-playing games. This is a Star Wars Darth Vader role-playing game book. I looked this up. I believe this one has sold for as high as like $30, $35, just that one. So some of them you don't want a lot together, but you know, maybe ones like this that are, you know, more modern and not as vintage, you put them together and sell them in a nice lot. This I picked up because you could just tell from looking at it, has a nice vintage look. Anything that says monsters on it, screen monsters on it, and has Darth Vader and Superman, totally pick it up because you could definitely sell that. That's going to be worth money. One of the things that I also found, which was really, really cool, I've never even seen these before, but these have got to be from, I think let me see if I can find a year on this somewhere. Let's see, 1977. These are Star Wars poster booklets. So you basically open them up and you know, there's little articles and stuff, but there's also posters inside there as well. So you know, basically it would open up in terms of like, it's like a kind of like a poster booklet. And if you fully open it here, look what we have. This is pretty cool. I didn't even see this in there. I'm opening it up here for the first time. But a big, giant Darth Vader poster that it opens up to. So it's kind of like a poster and a magazine together. So there's that. And there's another one of them right here. So I got two of them, so I could put those together in a nice little lot. And so that will be nice. Another thing I did, just trying to fold this Star Wars thing up so it doesn't rip or anything like that. So let me just put that safely aside here. Okay. Star Trek, you could build up Star Trek lots. And so there's a lot of vintage Star Trek books that you could get from the 70s and 80s. I do really well with them. Look them up individually. Sometimes you could just sell them individually and do well, like 20 bucks a book. But sometimes I put them together and I make little lots out of them. So that's something that is helpful. Another thing, certain magazines, if you find them sealed in the original bags, they came from the distributor, get them as well. This is Gothic Beauty. And I looked these up and, you know, some of them sell for 15, 20 bucks each. So lotting them together in a group of three, I think I saw a lot of two where I was going for $25 right now. That doesn't mean they'll sell for that, but I did see some do sell for, you know, 15 bucks a piece. So I'm going to put three of them together, sell those as a lot. This is an old vintage game book, and it's something about Space Patrol. I've never seen it before, but it's hardcover. So I just looked it up and I saw that these books sell for $20, $25, maybe even a little bit higher. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I know I looked it up and the comps on it were good. This is really cool. This is a 1931 book about the Christ child. So I told you in other videos I do really good with religious books, but you know, you crack these books open, you know, look them up. Doesn't matter. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of staining inside of it. It doesn't really matter that much. You know, it depends how bad it is, but you know, see right here, the copyright is let's see if I can get that on there for you. I don't know, but 1931. So I looked that up. These have sold for really good prices as well. A couple other things that I got here was a Star Wars guidebook, Star Wars Guide to the Universe. So, you know, again, I might sell that individually or put that together with a lot of other trade paperbacks that I have at home. I told you about Making of Star Trek, or Star Trek book. So here's another one, The Making of Star Trek. This is vintage. This has got to be from like the 70s or something. Let's see. I didn't even look it up when I was in there, but nope, even 1974. So, you know, these are hard to find. So just take them, put them together, make a little Star Wars lot. Anything from the 80s with Pac-Man, always pick it up. If it says Pac-Man 1980s, it's awesome pop culture. I love Pac-Man. I've never seen this before. The Pac-Man Riddle and Joke Book. It's very light, easy to ship. It'll probably sell for something like, 13, 14, 15 bucks. Really easy. Just put it in the mail. You could even just first class it. It's easy. This one's really cool. This is the National Elementary Speller Book, and it's from 1874. Absolutely super cool book. And I'm looking forward to seeing how much I could get out of it. I've seen some good things on the comps, and so we'll see what it goes for. See that right there. And if you saw my video on tape and tape dispensers, I could use a tape dispenser upstairs as opposed to the one that I have downstairs that I use for things. So found a little tape dispenser and threw it in. So what did I get for all these things? Well, they were priced at $1 a book, and don't be shy when you're buying in bulk to ask the person if they could do a deal for you if you are buying multiple items. Now, I've definitely have more than 23 things here, or I'm pretty sure I have more than 23 things here, but bottom line, I got everything that you see here, including that tape dispenser, which was marked as $2. Couple little notepads that I could use for my business that were marked at 50 cents each, but I got everything that you see here, every single thing, for $23. So I am going to make a killing off of this, and I didn't even buy any comic books. So you got to be able to move on to plan B. You got to be able to diversify. Don't get stuck in just one thing, and be able to move on, because then it's a wasted trip. Now coming home, great trip. I don't even care really that much that I didn't even get the comic book. So, man, I made a contact with the person, left them my business card. That's another thing I should talk about in another video. So talk to the guy about comics. He says he comes across them often. And so I gave him my card. So maybe if he finds something, he could give me a ring. I hope you like this video. I got to get going. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you come by. As I'm actually talking, I see notifications coming up of people who are asking to join the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. That's a group I run on Facebook about reselling, dedicated to all things reselling. Plus, you could promote yourself and promote your brand and promote your own YouTube videos. So just hit below in the description section, just click the Facebook link, and I will accept your request to join as long as everything looks okay with your profile. And they talk about, Steve Rakin talks about smash that like button. I'm going to say smash that subscribe button. I need some more subscribers. They're moving up, but they're just trickling up every day. I need a little more. I know I got to be patient with it, but still smash that subscribe button. All right, everybody, I'll see you at the next video. And check this out. This is amazing. This is a Pinocchio book, and it is from 1950, and it's all in German. I'll show you this right here. 1950, and the entire book, I mean, you could tell from the outside the authors are German, but if you look inside, really cool. Everything German and illustrated. So I looked up to try to find comps on this, couldn't find any comps. So who knows? Sky could be the limit with this one. We'll see.